time and call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon. Finance New Orleans Programs Committee meeting roll call. Chair Andronika Morris.
Present.
Ms. Giselle Johnson Banks.
Present.
Mr. Steve Smith. Mr. Edgar Chase IV. A quorum is present.
All right, let's move right into this meeting. So old business, any update on Christopher Park?
Yes, so actually we're moving forward. On 4/7, the project received environmental clearance. So all documentation has been sent to LHC in order for them to make a determination if they can piggyback off the existing reports to clear the GAP funding. So next steps, they are aggressively working on getting the GAP approval, environmental clearance from LHC, and then the actual SAC disposition approval will be requested.
Okay, so yeah, they still have to, okay, yeah, so this, I know this has been part of the problem with getting the environmental stuff done before they could even do the SAC approval, but this is progress.
Yes.
This is progress, so that's good. How are they doing with their insurance issues?
So far, they've been moving forward. One of the updates that we were going to provide later on in the pipeline report is the fact that it looks like they're going to be able to close in May.
All right, that's great. Well, they still
fingers crossed, but
fingers crossed. I mean, they can't close without SAC approval, and they're just now submitting it. So
their goal is to aim for the end of May.
Okay, let's. I think that's a little ambitious. So, but we'll see. We'll see. They might be ready to, SAC may be ready to expedite. Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all so much. Board member Johnson, do you have any questions about this one before I rush us through it? Sorry about that.
No, ma'am. No, you're good.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, team, for providing that update. And so we'll move on to new business. First up is the program committee meeting minutes from our last meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
The minutes have been, the approval of the minutes have been, motion to approve the minutes, sorry, has been properly made. Let's vote on the question. Oh, Lord have mercy. I am struggling over here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. Let's dig into now the program committee report. Kelly, take it away.
Okay, this should be very short and sweet. In regards to the program committee report, for the single family side for Green Mortgage, there was no change from February to March. But I will say we have made progress on our marketing campaign. There's been some topics finalized. We actually have an outline and a time frame set on webinars and videos that we're going to put on our website, in addition to the emails and communication to partners, individuals, information that we receive from databases. So we're aggressively moving on the marketing side. So there has been progress with that.
Okay, great.
Hey Kelly, let me add something here for the board. In terms of the green mortgage market, the potential market for it, we're also doing an exercise to size it up. We're working with our consultants, the financial institutions that help us put on the program. So as Kelly just talked about, the marketing program or marketing launch that we're going to roll out to get the word out about the program. At the same time, on the back end, we're working through all of the financial infrastructure to make sure that we can create access. Part of our investor summit tomorrow is about talking about creating more access for the green mortgage program because we have a limit on the credit scores that we can service. So there's a lot happening alongside the marketing. So the numbers are low now, but we're really ramping up so that we can bring this program to full potential and beyond what the program produced in the days where we were really active. Okay. So that it's not, we're not just letting it sit. I just wanted to make that clear. there's a lot of push going on behind it. We expect to see these numbers start to pick up once we roll out this campaign.
Okay. That while we're excited, I mean, this is something that is eagerly being awaited by the market, and I do know that we still have some concerns because we don't necessarily have exactly what the community needs. I've been very clear about the fact that from my read, we need a rehab product in addition to new construction, and I know we're not quite there yet for that. But I do think that the more of the conventional loans that y'all can close, and if we can get some of these units built to demonstrate what this looks like, it's going to be incredibly helpful, because it's just getting worse, unfortunately. And there isn't an end in sight. And without the state and city agencies that are responsible for housing, without them doing their part. So I'm glad that Finance New Orleans is stepping up, not just coasting on what have been some really great numbers when it comes to the pipeline project, focusing on single family home ownership, which is so integral to this agency's history and its future. I'm really glad that y'all are not letting this slip. And even though it's taking longer than anybody wants, that is unfortunately par for the course.
And also, Board Member Morris, the renovation program is ready to go. It's going to be ready with the new launch. So we just have to get some borrowers that are ready to go down that path, and there will be some trial and error because we haven't done it yet. HFAs mostly don't do renovation loans, so
I know
we're creating some. We're creating or going into uncharted territory. And every time we ask one of our consultants about it, they're like, I don't know. This is not what HFAs do, but this is what we need in New Orleans. So
that's right. Remind them we special.
Absolutely. I really think that's a game changer, y'all. I really do.
Yeah, I mean,
we need that here. Yeah.
All these raggedy houses all over the place.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we're gonna push that renovation aspect hard with this new rollout. Now that's it.
Right.
So we got to do some market cultivation, but we already have a database of families that have borrowed from us over time.
That's right. And again, like I said, we've got some folks. Once you start the marketing piece, I know from some of the programs we've been doing in Housing NOLA, there are people just waiting, and you won't be able to help everybody. That's fine. That we want to make that's part of it, and I think that's going to be helpful too. Is that the team think about with the marketing, that when y'all get people calling in and they don't meet your parameters, if y'all can do some referrals to, inside of some of the other partners who are being stood up, like Own the Crescent is going to be trying to help with landlords, and, and then there might be some people who need more than you all can provide or less, and kind of build out a referral sheet and have Finance New Orleans be a one-stop shop for information.
Understood.
Let me ask a question. On the credit requirements, Damon or Kelly, is that 660? Is that still stand for right now? Yeah. That's one of the biggest issues is that FHA goes as low as 580, but we're only allowed to go as low as 660. And that's because we're in Louisiana, and Louisiana has challenges. But one of the solutions we came up with is if Finance New Orleans leverages its balance sheet to help create more access for those borrowers under 660, as well as other types of borrowers like developers, DBE developers. That is how we plan to use our balance sheet and this funding that we've been talking about bringing in through an impact bond, the National Green Bank. We're going to use it to strengthen our balance sheet so that we can use our credit to help create more access. So we're working out an arrangement with, we have two services right now, US Bank, which is our national servicer, and then we have a local servicer, Eustis Mortgage. And so we're trying to cultivate a really good relationship with Eustis, and where we can do renovation loans. And if we are leveraging our balance sheet,
there's a possibility that they will relax the credit score requirements. So that's what we're working through right now. And once that happens, we think that'll further open up the market beyond what we've already talked about.
Great, thank you. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And that kind of innovation is exactly what the market needs, and that thoughtfulness. And again, we can't help everybody, but if we can help the folks we can help and get them moving, that will free up. There will be other investors, hopefully, who will meet those other needs. But what is unfortunately happening is because the need is so overwhelming, everybody is paralyzed.
Right.
And yeah, that we have to get something moving.
And Andronika and Giselle, just to your point, the team and I, we have strategically put together a phase 1 and a phase 2 for actually rejuvenating the green mortgage program here in the city. We are going to have a realtors roundtable. We are going to have a lenders roundtable, and we're going to do some grassroots. When I say grassroots, I mean actually getting in the community. Let's meet with some realtors that have a composition of clients that aren't getting approved through those big banks, so that could definitely seek approval through Finance New Orleans. We'll call that the meet greet realtor lender coffee session. So these are some of the things. We are also pumping out different features that the Green Mortgage has. I think we have a client database of about 3,000 and something people. That design is being worked on as we speak. That'll be hitting the New Orleans streets soon. As well, we are making the website a little bit more inclusive by adding content that focuses on actually climate resilience, how to save money with some of these green products, and what that looks like after they purchase a home, how the assessment works, that sort of thing. Even if we have to start with our rain barrels, we are really diving into how we can reach out to folks like myself in the community that they don't get the opportunity to hear about these different benefits, because nobody wants to check with, little Miss Luann Johnson, who's been selling properties out in the East for a number of years. And I think that, talking with Damon, that's going to be a really great community connection for us as well as we push this through. So we're excited. I mean, we're moving on it.
All right, that's great.
Great.
Okay, so we talked a lot about a bunch of different things. So Kelly, we kind of jumped around a little bit. If you want to go back to the beginning, that'd be fine.
A lot of moving parts, but a lot of great success coming in the future. So
yes.
No worries at all. So we talked about single family. So we'll shift to the sustainable developer pipeline. Again, minimal activity from February to March, but there are a few items that I wanted to draw to everyone's attention. One of which was the pending SAC for Christopher Park with the shift of a closing date to May, and we discussed that earlier. Also, Grove Place should be closing next week. Spoke to legal today, and that is looking positive. That should be closing early next week. So that's something to look forward to. And then some really good news is that the Reveal did close on April 8th.
Right.
So we did close that one. The last item that affected the pipeline would be, if you notice, we're not requested an approval today for Our Lady of Lourdes. And I know that was discussed in March. They reached out to us. They're going to actually have a delay in closing. They have to push their closing back due to the procurement policy for their Hanno vouchers. And those 62 vouchers are required for them
make the project go. Yeah.
Yes. So with that, they've actually shifted their closing date from fourth quarter this year to first quarter of next year. And so with that, we stripped the approvals so that we can present the approval in a more timely manner. Everything still looks positive. We still are meeting with the developers on a monthly basis to ensure we have open communication and the timing is right when we put those resolutions in front of front of the committee, but did wanted to bring to everyone's attention. That is why we're not asking for approval this month.
Gotcha.
And that closing date has shifted.
Okay, gotcha. So that's, I mean, we're fine with this, and I'm glad, again, we've had a first look at the project, because it could move a little faster once they get that done. To get some details about their delay, are they going to have to, the Housing Authority going to put out a PBA solicitation? Or, because I just want to get an idea, like, how big of a delay are we talking about? Or is it a letter to the file from HUD that's saying it's okay if you sole source them?
So I may have to come back to you with the answer to that. I do know that he did receive an approval letter from Hanno.
Okay.
He made it sound, and my interpretation from what we discussed was it was their internal process with timing that is causing the delay, not that he would have an issue with the actual vouchers.
Right, but no, but you mentioned they told you, they mentioned the procurement policy, which is a very specific flag. That because the Housing Authority has to, there's only two ways they can procure, they can assign PBVs, and it's under, both of them are under solicitations. And it's, if they did a solicitation, for example, and they selected you as a developer for one of their properties, that should cover it. Or if they did a solicitation for anybody who wanted PBVs and you were awarded through that. And yeah, and so sometimes, and like I said, if they're part of they're part of CNI, or they're part of one of the big four, yeah, and so this is delayed projects with Providence before, and the last time it happened, they had to go in and apply, and it took quite some time.
Okay,
So
I will
hopefully
get back
that-
to
yeah.
you on that. I know they had an LOI already from Hanno.
Yeah.
But I'll get a little bit more information and respond to everyone on the committee to address that question.
Yeah, because I would hate for it to have substantial delay. Hopefully they can, there's some other workarounds that they can probably deploy, and hopefully they're going to do that, because this isn't Hanno land. It was privately held land. So,
Right.
yeah, so yeah. Okay. All right. But that's, again, you know, these things happen. Like I said, I know Board Member Banks and I share the desire to, you know, review these projects as often as early on in the process as possible, in case they turn into red balls, right? Because this one could, right? It could be like, oh, well, they've run out of road. And so we've seen it, we've heard from the developer of what their intention are, and things are going to change, obviously. So yeah, but that's fine that we're not looking at it today. I'm disappointed, but it happens. At least you're not sharing worse news.
And I'll be able to address those questions. I'll be sure we get the answers and forward to everyone.
Okay, great.
And so that was the key changes on our pipeline.
On the pipeline. And then, so you got, how many do you have in, looks like you've got some in underwriting, and
we shouldn't have any in underwriting.
Oh,
So
I'm
that
sorry.
That was a pre-screen.
That's a pre-screen. I'm sorry. I saw UW and got excited.
So we do have a significant number out there where a pre-app was sent in a full application. We spent the majority of the last few weeks getting our hands around the items that were of closing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Our Lady of the Lords, that was in underwriting.
Gotcha.
Next week on going forward, again, with the departure of a team member and such, we were trying to ensure those closings happened. We're in a much better place now. We will be reaching out to all of those developments to see where they are in the process and kind of speed them along to see if they have any needs or questions, so that we can begin to gather their information to get them to underwriting.
And Kelly, can you do me one favor and walk me through is the status organized right now? Is that in order? No, that's not right. Like because I made some presumptions about what they meant and where they fell. So like, what's step one, what's step two, what's step three, which ones are first, and like in order.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe we
think
could sort them like
we
that,
can
like by
sort 'em like
status.
that.
Yeah, like what's the like the first status is the whatever's in the earliest queue, and then what's the next status down, that's it might not be second or third, but it's the next along the progression.
Yeah, so we can definitely realign that so it's in order of the actual steps.
Yeah.
But for everyone's benefit, we do a pre-screening. Historically, in the past, there was an underwriting pre-screening. We're now doing this pre-screening in-house, gathering information, kind of eliminating the duplication between a pre-app and a full app.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure it meets requirements. Once we go through the in-house pre-screening, they are then sent a full application, and we allow the developers to work at their own pace. We do some follow-up work to keep them moving, but at that point, we're gathering all the documentation that we need, and we're shifting them once everything is received. We check the boxes. It goes straight to underwriting. Once underwriting is completed, we then go to the underwriting committee. It actually goes to underwriting committee already proven the feasibility. So there'll be a presentation for the developers and underwriting proven the feasibility of that development. So you'll see a shift for underwriting in that status. You'll also see the next will be programs approval. You'll have a preliminary programs, you'll have a board preliminary. Then we go through final approvals, and then there's legal review before closing, and then there's then followed by closing. You will see two, well, we do have two now, which is consultant review. Yeah, that means those had some items that required a little digger deeping, and our consultant was working with us. One of those is a condo, so that's going to require some legal collaboration in addition to going to the city because of it being a condo. And I know we were working on that with our consultant to ensure we could rewrite some policy to get that through the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is I can actually maybe include an appendix of outlining the statuses and what they mean, and then I will shift the proper order so that you can see how they're rotating down.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because that way it'll just flow a little bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any other questions?
I do have one more comment. I'm sorry. I wanted to say I have a comment for the board. Just in the same way that we talked about credit enhancement for homeowners that have lower credit scores, but not bad credit scores, just lower credit scores.
Right.
The same kind of enhancement or support is needed when you start talking about development projects.
Right.
So in this pipeline you see on the screen, there are about 6 of these projects that qualify as, and I'm using this term loosely now because we're still developing our own internal guidelines, but DBE qualified. So the developers that we classify as DBEs or consider, many times they have good projects. They have land from the city, they have vouchers, they have soft dollars. We all know that there's demand for housing, and they have good ideas about how to structure that housing or how to build it. But many times they don't have the financial wherewithal to build a track record in the bond market, in the muni bond market. And that's important because this is a national market, so you can get a developer started here and they can go do the same kind of projects in other markets where there are finance authorities just like ours.
Or more here.
And more here, of course, first. So the idea here is that we also want to use our balance sheet to create access for developers that fall in that category, Black, brown, women developers, and the banks that local banks that want to buy bonds that oftentimes don't get a chance to buy bonds. We have their attention now, and we've been talking to them about ways to structure a program to create more DBE developer access. And that's something that we're tackling at our investor conference as well, and over the next few months. So our balance sheet can be valuable in many ways when it comes to credit enhancement. And that's one of the key ways we're going to jumpstart this engine or get back into the market, is by simply using our balance sheet to create access for those that are not getting the access right now, even though they may have good credit scores or good projects. they need some financial capacity to back them up in order to make the lending community comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that's happening is that if we keep waiting for the perfect developers and that those folks aren't coming here, they and frankly, they struggle inside of this market to meet our needs. So we should be investing in our homegrown talent and people who actually want to work here.
Yes. So more details to follow. I just wanted to keep that on your radars.
So yeah, is that I mean, yeah, that would be something I think that also something that we want to hear, the board would want to hear more about, and encourage and support in any way that we could. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I think that's it for the agenda. Yep. So any other questions, comments, anything else anybody wanted to raise?
Hey, Angelique, I do have one more thing to bring up. And just a reminder, we're hosting our virtual investor summit tomorrow morning, and we're also doing an investor lunch and many other activities throughout today or tomorrow and Friday. So it's an opportunity for us to get out, tell a story. We see it as a bit of a coming out party for Finance New Orleans because, you know, we've been working on this strategy for a very long time. Ever since Katrina happened, we've been trying to figure out a way to create impact in this community. So tomorrow is an opportunity for us to retell our story, talk about what the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to look like and how we plan to impact New Orleans. So I just wanted to point that out for you. And also the team worked very hard to get us to this point. And I want to shout out the entire organization, the entire staff, because everybody's been all hands on deck, working diligently to make sure this event is a success, and it sets us up. Tomorrow's going to set us up for the next 10 years and beyond. So everybody understands that, and they've been working hard. And further, I want to call out Naj for leading the team. Naj sets the tone for us every day and has been pushing everybody in the right direction. So just wanted to call that out for the board to know that the staff is working hard, and those individuals deserve the recognition.
Thank you.
That's great, Damon. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is really great. I'm actually excited to see it happen. Did we send a notification to the board and get board members registered for the conference as well? To be a part of that, just to, support you all? Or?
Yep, and see firsthand what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some individual conversation, Giselle, but we'll send it out to everybody immediately after this call. So you'll have all the sign up.
All right.
And yeah, I know that's
Thank
on
you.
and I know you're going to continue doing that. And so in that vein, if we can make sure that we know about the next ones and things like that as well, because some of us have, we have contacts and things like that. Because did we invite the Federal Reserve?
Yes.
Okay, good. Who's coming from there?
We would have to drill down into our actual data because we basically made sure that we captured all of our virtual registrants, which is so far, I think, up to 80. And then we have a virtual lunch as well, which is separate. I thought by now you guys would have gotten the e-blast of the flyer, the presenters, and all of that information. Oh, actually, we have over 100 virtual registrants. So we are super excited. But let me know if you haven't. We have the FNO Communications email account where all of this stuff comes from. And if you guys aren't getting it, check your junk, because I've had to do that several times to mark the emails as safe. But it does have the agenda as well as the Zoom registration link on that. And if not, Elizabeth will go ahead and shoot that out to you guys individually.
Yeah.
Okay?
So if y'all can go ahead and confirm that the board members are on this list, and if not, resend it. And if so, send it from one of your accounts, and that way we can double check.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's safe just to resend it. I know.
I agree. No, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll have it go out. Elizabeth will have it out to you today.
All right, great.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I
Are
think
there
that-
any public comments, Elizabeth?
No public comments at this time.
Thank you.
All righty, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move adjournment.
Thank you, Board Member Banks,
You're welcome.
Jonathan Banks, sorry. With that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you
Thank-
so much.
All right.
y'all.
Thank y'all.
Talk to you later.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.